Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Sam Roberts Wrestling Podcast. Introducing your host from New York, here is Sam Roberts.
And here with me, the innovator of violence, Tommy Dreamer. Tommy, what's the haps?
Just hanging out here. So happy to be here. Two guys from Westchester, just sitting here talking wrestling, talking a little bit of whatever.
I don't think people realize the deep history that Westchester has with pro wrestling.
Correct.
I don't think anybody really realizes what Westchester is outside of New York. But so who's from Westchester? You, me, Paul Heyman, obviously.
Classy Freddie Blassie, Arnold Skolin.
Lou Albano.
Albano was up in Carmel, which I don't know if isn't that another county? Isn't that?
What is it, Rockland or something?
No, that's Dutchess County.
Oh.
Isn't it? But yeah, he's from there. Eddie Kingston, he's from
Yonkers.
I guess, your claim to fame is you want to be the most famous person from your hometown, but we also got Mary J. Blige. We have a lot of, famous DMX. My claim to fame so far is I am the only celebrity from Yonkers not to be arrested. So,
So there you go.
I got that.
Yeah.
You could aspire for that as well.
I'm going to try. Yeah.
We don't know about Paul. He's probably got aliases. We don't know about him.
Right.
So we can't answer that question for Mr. Heyman.
I went to DMX's yard sale.
Really?
That's one of the benefits of living in Westchester. One of my other Westchester friends was like, you got to look at this flyer. And I was like, this can't be real. This can't be legit. But it said, boots and cars and jackets. And I was like, that sounds like what would be for sale at DMX's yard sale. So I went to the house, and he had big gates up that said DS, and I think his name is Daryl Simmons.
That's
so I
awesome.
said, yeah. And it was all just a bunch of oversized leather Rough Rider jackets and Timberlands that were different colors. But
If you would text me, I would have been there too.
yeah.
I would have bought some stuff.
You got to check it out. Well,
We also in Westchester, we're the highest tax county in America, and we have the most millionaires per capita. I
Really?
am not one of them.
Oh.
However, I pay taxes for them.
Yeah, so
We got the Clintons, right? We got them.
Jay-Z lived there for a little while.
Yep. There's talk of Obama coming there after his presidency is up. So
Yeah.
we got all the Yankees, the Knicks, the Rangers. They all live there. They mark up that big millionaire per capita.
Was your goal ever to be a millionaire in wrestling, or was it just to wrestle?
I think mine was just to be a wrestler. I think I have been a millionaire a couple times, or I really come close to being a millionaire.
Right. Or you got the million, and then it was like, yeah, but you got to pay this bill.
Yeah, dude. Total. I lived. I moved from Yonkers. I lived basically with my parents till I was 30.
Wow.
In Colonial Heights, all during ECW.
Well, yeah, because so what ages were you wrestling in ECW for?
23 till 30, and then I went to WWE.
So you're talking about the end of ECW. You were
Yeah.
still living with your parents.
Yep, I had Beulah had an apartment right off of Tuckahoe Road, but I hung my head at my parents' house all the time, and then
See, that's even more. But that's something when you put Beulah into it. That's even more of like a something to boost your ego with. Because first people are going like, how does Tommy land that?
yeah. I'm
And
a proud
then
overachiever.
you also add into the fact that not only did Tommy land that, but Tommy was living at his parents' house when
I
he landed
used to
that.
bang Beulah on my childhood bed for all you guys out there.
That's right. Dreams do come true.
That I used to have pro wrestlers posters all over the wall. I had an NFL bedspread for a while. That was so cool. How
Yeah.
did I ever get laid as this fat kid?
Just the man. So your parents obviously were supportive of but by the time you're 30, you've been doing this for a while, ECW is at the highest it's ever been, but you're still at home. Your mom isn't going like, Tommy, we got to do something here.
Nope. My parents always supported me from day one. Very, very blessed to have that, because if you're an up-and-coming independent wrestler, you need that. But, they got it. They saw the growth of ECW, and if ECW took off the way I had hoped, I pretty much had the most to gain.
Mm-hmm.
Then, I went from ECW to unemployed for 6 months, and then I went to WWE. In that time, I bought my MTV crib mansion up in Greenwich, Connecticut, and I had saved some of money that I had, and bought a house. My parents were downstairs. My parents were upstairs. Me and Beulah were downstairs. Lived in Greenwich for 3 years, the market was booming. I sold my house for $1.3 million. I paid about $500,000.
Really?
And
that's a hell of a flip.
Yes, but to reference what you said, the same day I closed on my one house, I had to buy my house and my parents a home because my father was sick. He basically wanted to go back to Yonkers to die, and my mom, and them. So I had a check that said my name, $1.3 million on it, and then I walked down the hall, and then I had 2 mortgages, and my house was like $750,000, my mom's house was like $550,000, so I went from a millionaire to an in-debt heir.
That's it.
Just like that. I walked down a hall.
Right.
I'm just going to stay in this hall because I'm happy right now. Who the hell knows what's going to happen when I walk down the other hall later?
And you have to try to in real estate, I'm worth a little more. No, Tommy, that's not how it works. So you must have been saving a lot of money, though, because at some point you must have been making something livable with ECW.
Yeah, every once in a while I get a paycheck. Or my debt got so high, like I would just walk up to Paulie and I'd be like, hey, we did, $12,000 in merch, and I'm taking it. And he'd be like, can I have like $2,000? And I'd be like, all right, here. So I'll take $10,000 off for what you owe me.
So it would be like you wouldn't get paid, and then you'd have, all right, I had a $10,000 night.
Yeah.
And that would go right into the bank pretty much?
That, and, we did, I think a lot of us I would do anything I could to make my dream, go forward again when I was early starting. When, I was in ECW, I was wrestling full time, but I had great parents that upper middle class. So I couldn't have stayed in ECW till the end if I didn't. I had no kids. I had nothing. I had lived in my house, and I knew if I had absolutely nothing, I could just live at home.
Was there any part of you that saw guys coming in and getting paid because they weren't loyal? Like you were from the beginning, you were very loyal to ECW.
It started getting that way more towards the end, but me and Paul were pretty tight. Yeah, and again, if ECW took off the way it should have, I had the most to gain too. But my heart was there. I really believed in it. Sometimes we'll take, for example, a couple weeks ago, I was wrestling in an ice storm up in Burlington, Vermont. And there was probably 100 and something people there. I still love it, and I still go out there and wrestle, but I was sometimes like, man, I remember that time WCW offered me like $750,000, and I said no. And, where you see Paul, going to work his 3rd WrestleMania main event.
Right.
And but it's all good. Everything happens for a reason. I'm very, very happy. But you do have those moments of, man, what if? But.
Yeah, and I would imagine too, though. Yeah, but you're working now, and you have a promotion now. You have House of Hardcore, and I think part of that is because people are loyal to you because they recognize what you gave to the business. And I don't think you would have a loyal fan base today had you gone to WCW.
Correct. A lot of those. That's why. Not to dwell on the past, but Paul Heyman gave me everything, and that is who I am. And it's funny, they're talking about Sting and Triple H, the guys who went down with the ship 14 years ago. I was like, yeah, throw me in a 3-way on that. Let's take that to a.
You are the guy. You're the ECW
but
Sting.
You said, it made me who I am. And even when I went to WWE and I didn't get the big push, it was always that's WWE doing it to him as opposed to his actual talent or in-ring ability. So it's all good. It's who you are, and I have no regrets whatsoever.
When you went to first of all, what were the 6 months like in between? Like when you're unemployed, because you're like, I spent 7 years. You said, and there's always that light at the end of the tunnel. And when you realize, no, the tunnel's closed, and there is no more money.
Worst time of my life. I was suicidal. I was in the best shape of my life, though. When I went to WWE, you watch, I was 232 pounds. I could have maybe even went shirtless, a rare Tommy Dreamer experience.
Back to the suspenders.
No, I wouldn't go that far. But I was in the best shape of my life, and just because I'm unemployed, I'd work out. I was depressed. I was trying to keep my mind going. I would hear from Paul sporadically, and but WWE, reached out to me, JR in particular, and just said, hey, just hang in there, kid. And I remember, seriously, it was I worked at Indy and I didn't get paid. And I was driving home and, I was just like, man, I wanted to kill Paul. And then JR just called me out of nowhere. He's like, hey, Tom, it's Jim Ross. Just, we're still, we got you in mind. Just hang in there, kid. And I was like, wow, did he just know I got stiffed on a payday?
Yeah.
And, stuff like that. So, I mean, that was cool. And
yeah, that's a big deal just to be like, I don't have anything for you, but people are aware that you at least exist.
Yeah. And thank God the WCW invasion failed. And then we got the call, and me and Rob Van Dam were there to hop the guardrails, shock the business one more time.
Right.
We took that whole thing back over for at least, I had a whole day of fun. Then we went to SmackDown the next day, and I caught The Undertaker when he overshot the whole pile, and me and Undertaker became friends because I didn't really know him. I looked right at him. I said, I'll be the last guy there for you. And he overshot the whole pile, and I just threw him on top of me. And then, so we became friends from that.
He recognized that immediately and was like, that's a stand-up dude.
Yeah. Well, when you're diving on people and you want to make sure you catch them. In wrestling, I see it more now than ever. In ECW, man, it was a code. You catch a guy. From Rob Van Dam to Sabu, I pride myself on being a guy who was there for...
Yeah, and that's actually a taller task, for those of us who have never done anything close to that. Because you look at Sabu, and he's flying all over the ring. You got to find him, and you got to make sure you're under him.
Especially when guys are flipping.
Yeah.
Van Dam, most people don't realize how incredibly thick he is. And then he is coming at you, and that ass hits you. And he was probably like 220, 225. But Rob is a thick dude. And, your head would hit the guardrail. But I know my friend or the guy I'm working with didn't get killed because, guys get hurt.
Right. I
like to call it alligator arms because now guys will be like, yeah, I'll catch you, and their arms supposed like that, and all of a sudden they become alligators and they get the little hands right there.
Is that because people get scared at the last minute?
Probably. Yeah. That's why I'm not a big diver. I always knew if I had Bubba, Devon, I like to dive on piles of people, like three. Even when I went back to WWE in the Slammies, I worked 3MB. There was three of them. I said, guys, you don't really have to catch me, but just let me just stop my fall.
Right.
And, they were there for me.
Yeah.
And, again, that used to be how the business was. If a guy was diving, they would catch you because that's what you're supposed to do.
Right. You're supposed to protect the person you're working with.
Yep.
Did The Undertaker say anything to you at that point?
He
or was
said,
it
thanks? And then right from there, kind of kicked it off.
That was it. That was the whole thing.
Catch the Undertaker, man.
And are you still at that point in your life? So you just get to the WWE, and you've done, you've been in WWE locker rooms before here and there, but now you're a WWE wrestler. Have you been in wrestling long enough that you're, I don't want to say jaded, but a little jaded, or are you still, oh my God, I'm sharing a locker room with The Undertaker?
I just celebrated 25 years in this business. I will never be jaded. This is my dream. This is all I've ever wanted to do since I was 9 years old. And Terry Funk hit me up a long time ago and said, any day you're wrestling, it's a good day. And it truly is. So, no, never jaded. At times, man, why are they not pushing me? At times, fed up, angry, wanting to beat people up. But it took me till I was 38 years old to realize that. And for anyone listening there who wants to get into the world of professional wrestling, let me give you the greatest piece of advice that I could give you. Wrestling is fake. It is predetermined.
Yeah.
It is what only one person thinks of you. And if one person thinks of you as something, you will be something. If one person thinks of you as nothing, you will be nothing. And your in-ring talent, your in-ring ability at times doesn't mean a lot. But to me, and the proof of this, your in-ring ability means the most to the people who are paying to see you, the fans. That's why I always go out there and work my ass off every single time. I saw the rise of the Eddie Guerreros, the Rey Mysterios, even I know I'm not supposed to say his name, the Chris Benoits. Their in-ring talent, Daniel Bryan, is what got them to the dance.
And those are also, that's what we were talking about before, about the loyalty. Those are, the people that paid once are the ones that are going to stay with you. And even if you end up unemployed again, who's going to show up to the indie shows? Who's going to go to the website and find a T-shirt? Who's going to find a DVD? Yep. Those are the people that are going to, I guess, when you talk about career longevity, what you want is a loyal fan base.
Yes, 100%. And never What I learned from ECW: never lie to your fans. Never did. And with me, and like you said, I guess I have credibility in uncredible business.
Yeah.
I like to kind of treat people how they treat myself, but also like stipulations. To me, what is that? It's still real to me, damn it.
Yes.
When I say something, it will never happen again. You know how many indie promoters have wanted to do me versus Raven? And I said, for my selling point, and yes, it is selling for a promotion to try to get people to come see you, for Hardcore Justice, for TNA, Tommy Dreamer versus Raven, The Last Stand. That's it. I'm never going to do it again. I haven't never done it again. People want to do it in a tag, or if he wants to jump me, yeah, but I will never have my name versus his attached to go out there and wrestle so people can spend, even if it's $1.
Right.
Because to me, I hate when, this guy's fired, and then we see him 2 weeks ago, or he's gone from wrestling forever. No,
And then he pops out from under the ring.
Yep. Part of my show, I have had a lot of those stipulations. The last time where I was up in Poughkeepsie, Tommy Dreamer and Terry Funk will never tag ever again. And when I tell you, not only was I crying, Terry turned to me. He's like, "You bastard. You got me." He's crying. Lance Storm is crying. X-Pac's crying. Angelina Love's crying. It was this big love fest of everyone just crying. But that's, to me, what's missing.
Yeah.
And if someone wants me to tag with him in a 6-man, fine. But you're never going to see me and him again. I did it with an awesome 3-way that just happened between Alex Reynolds, Tony Nese, Petey Williams. And I said, because I did the match probably 3-4 times. It was so good. And then I said, hey, it's the last time you're ever going to see it. And then Petey wound up retiring because he got a good job and he has to work on weekends. And, he got something called a 401k plan. I don't know what that's called.
Yeah.
And
benefits.
Yeah.
What is that?
Stupid him. So, it just kind of fell into that. And even my last show at House of Hardcore 7 at the arena was the last time you'll ever see Beulah McGillicuddy. She just came to me and said, I want to be done. I want to retire. And she's very, very happy just being a mom. She's a great mom. And she's like, my career started there. I'd like it to end there. And I said, you're booked. And I went old school. I didn't pay her. It was funny. She got emotional. I did a shoot run-in with my children to give her flowers at the end, which was cool. I handed her the microphone, and she was mad at me, but I said, you got to say something to these people.
Right.
And she was so overwhelmed that people still remembered her. And the ovation she got, she was so happy. She wrote something on, I tweeted it, but she was so happy about that. And that's another thing with me about wrestling is people don't ever get a chance to say goodbye. And I hate, like me. WWE did me right when I left with Zack Ryder. They let me say goodbye. And it was cool. It was awesome. The first person I walked through that curtain was Vince McMahon. And he shook my hand. He was like, that was great television. I had as long as I wanted to go. And guys, fans then thought I was retired. And I was like, no, I just left. I just had signed a 5-year deal. And I was just like, no, I'm, not there anymore. The business is totally changing with social media and all that stuff. But I hate, example, Rey Mysterio. Mm-hmm. Rey Mysterio, now, at least with social media, you're trending, or even Samoa Joe, when he leaves, you're trending. People are like, oh, they now know the real story. And social media is totally changing the world of professional wrestling. But at least I always want to give people a chance to say goodbye to their audience that supported them throughout the years.
Well, yeah, and I guess that's the only way to get around social media is to actually mean what you say.
Yes.
Like all the lies or all, trying to get over on people, that all comes out real quick in the wash. And
you no longer can try to work the internet or work the smart marks because you're no longer working people. And I was never like that. Last show I had Alberto Del Rio. Mm-hmm. It was his first post WWE appearance. It happened so quickly, and it's like surprises. You just don't tell people. That's it.
Right.
Even when I went to the Slammies, I got a call at 3:30 in the afternoon from Hunter, and he was Hunter's assistant. He's like, hey, they want you to come and work Philly tonight. Can you make it? I was like, well, I'm just pulling into the gym. I got to go shower, and then, I'll drive down. Don't tell anybody. Cool. Nobody knew. I was supposed to actually go teach at my wrestling school. Just said, hey, I can't make it. I got something come up. I drove down there. The moment I pulled into the parking lot, then I got, hey, are you here? Blah, 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 because the word got out, you know. But
How did the word get out?
word got out through them because they were like,
Would they want a little buzz going in? Like, oh, maybe,
I don't
maybe
know.
not?
But, you know, the first person who texted me was John Laurinaitis. And he was just like, hey, you're coming in. I'm your agent, like, question mark, question mark. And I was just like, you work there. You should know these things, you know?
I don't know why you're asking me.
And so, like, you know, you just don't tell people. You know,
Right.
I've also pride myself on my shows to have surprises. Last time I actually said, hey, there's going to be 5 surprises. I gave them 5 surprises. I don't know how many surprises I got this show, but I got a lot of heavy hitters and a lot of, you know, people going to be there.
How do you ensure your psychology? Because, okay, like, you can live by that psychology, and you can make sure that when you say something, you mean it, and this and that. But, okay, now you've attached your name to a promotion, House of Hardcore. How do you ensure that that thing that you live by is also something that the guys who wrestle for you are going to live by? Like, how can you advertise this is the last triple threat match? Do you just have to trust that these guys are going to follow?
I said that would be the last triple threat match that I will ever do with them.
That you will ever do?
Correct.
Okay, so if they go do it on another show, you're
Correct.
going, all we did was say it's the last time it's going to be at House of Hardcore.
Correct. I can never. I know I can control. Those are stipulations that, you know, could be kind of, but that was me. Hey, I'm never going to do this match ever again.
Right.
So you want to see it here where it started? Go for it.
Right.
But, you know, I mean, Just Incredible is saying he's going to be leaving the wrestling business. So is Kid Cash, 2015. I would personally really, really like both guys. Still think both guys contribute to a wrestling match. I don't know if I would have their anniversary match or say it's the last time they're going to appear at the ECW arena, because I wouldn't be able to control that.
Right.
And if I said that and then they went out, even if it's a year later, 2 years later, 5 years later, I would be angry at that because I'm crazy. But to me, I have to stick to stipulations.
Yeah. I mean, it all starts somewhere.
Yeah.
Like if enough of those incidents pile up, you completely lose credibility. And it's like, okay, well, that's cool. That's the stipulation, but it doesn't actually mean anything.
Right.
So you're right on some level, but yeah, it is kind of crazy to think that it can never happen for you.
You're supposed to not, you know. Again, I don't think any professional wrestler should ever really retire unless, you know, you look like Edge. Edge can never take a bump.
Right.
If he takes a bump, he could become crippled. His quality of life is over. Mick Foley can no longer take a bump.
Right.
But Mick Foley can appear at shows, so can Edge. If you say, hey, this is my last ever in-ring performance, to me that includes promos, this is my last ever match. Boom. Then that's it.
That's fine.
Walk away.
What was the language that you used for your last WWE match? I was there. I remember being in the arena, but I don't remember what the language.
If I lose, I'll leave ECW. And I will never go back to ECW. If they reformed ECW, I would not go back.
But you would go back theoretically to WWE.
I did. I went, but I never
Right.
and I never said, when the words come out of my mouth, I'm retiring, or if it's my last match, I will never wrestle again.
Right.
And it sucks for me because my mentor is Terry Funk, and he's in his 70s and still wrestling.
So-
So I just turned 44. I should have totally had Mick Foley as my mentor,
Right.
because he just helped me. But Mick is no longer wrestling, so I screwed myself. I took a guy who's still working at 70.
Although Mick's had several last matches. So
No,
it's like-
Mick, unfortunately, you know, he's had some brain issues.
Yeah.
I was just with him this last, but you know what? Mick is an amazing ambassador. Mick can still cut a promo, talk the people in, which is a lost art, and he could still shove a sock down a man or a woman's throat.
Right.
So, I mean, hey, that's pro wrestling 101 right
yeah,
there.
he was just in Rawway at the last
Yep.
PWS show and cut an amazing promo.
That's what he does.
And he still pulls it out. So when you got to WWE, what were your goals there? Or was it just
Madison Square Garden.
That was it.
That was it.
And you got there.
Yep.
So it wasn't, you weren't in your head going, I'm going to go there, and you know what? I know people say it's not going to happen, but I'm going to be the WWE champion.
I'm a bit of a realist. I also didn't, not that I say you don't need it. WWE was such a different animal than ECW. You know, ECW, I didn't need a title. I didn't need any of that. WWE, when you have a title, you are making major, major bank. But I realized, hey, I'm not a WWE guy. You know, it's funny. I actually wrestled in WWE longer than I wrestled in ECW, and people chant ECW. Vince McMahon would never look at Tommy Dreamer and be like, yeah, I'm going to make him the face of my company.
Right.
Not that I was an ugly man, Vince. I know you found me somewhat attractive. However, I wore a T-shirt. I wasn't a home creation for him.
Well, yeah, and on that end, yeah, you're definitely not a home creation, but he let you come in as Tommy Dreamer. It was the same. You looked the same. You acted the same. You were the same guy that we had gotten to know in ECW, which, I mean, almost definitely would not happen in 2015.
No, I would have changed my name. I would have, I actually probably, and I say it to guys, I would not, how the business has changed, I would not have probably made it if I started today. I could not, I hated practice. I played football in high school. I hated practice. I put me out on the game, and I'm a crazy person.
Right.
I'm spearing people. I'm, loading my elbow pads and lariating people. Yeah, I was nuts. However, because again, wrestling influenced my entire life. But make me have matches in front of no people. Make me, like they do in the developmental system, or just train every day, taking bumps, all that stuff. I could not do that. I would just go crazy. I like to perform in front of people. I don't care if there's 5 people there. I will wrestle in front of 5 people and entertain 5 people.
So is that kind of how you learned? It's just doing shows?
I mean, I trained in Brooklyn, and even then, when I was training, I was in a boxing gym, and you had boxers looking at you all the time, or people would walk by and they'd watch you guys have matches, me and Taz, me and Damien Demento. And they, even though they're boxers and they're in their own thing, but they would watch us, someone takes a big bump or there's always noise. You'd always see them watching.
How did you feel being part of the revived ECW in WWE? What did you think of the idea and then the execution of it?
From the success of the first 2 pay-per-views was great.
And those first 2 pay-per-views were, they felt like ECW.
Yes. Well, it was supposed to be totally different. We want this product to be different. We want this product to be not like WWE. And it all just became a part of the machine. And then the fans, again, credibility, they realized this isn't what we watched. This isn't what we want to watch. And I get it. It's, everyone talks, about, Vince and all that stuff. But that's how life is. There's politics in life. There's politics in everybody's job. I know today LaShawn McCoy has been traded to the Buffalo Bills. Everyone in Philly is in an uproar. But the guy who's the head coach of the Eagles taught that kid who he traded him for. And LaShawn McCoy, even though he's an amazing player, he butted heads with the coach. So they just said, see ya. Now, to me, the only way to... Are you going to stop cheering for the Eagles if you're an Eagles fan? No, you're going to be pissed at them. But you're still going to be, if you're so pissed that you don't want to support them, then don't. That's how I look at, I love most of the times I don't watch pay-per-views. I just follow what's going on Twitter, and I'll be able to determine what they like or what they don't like.
Yeah.
And same with Monday Night Raws, or more Raws. I usually just tweet my own stuff or make fun of things, and whenever you make fun of things, you get tons of retweets. And, that's what this is all about, really.
Yeah.
Or express your mind, but people are so mad, or I'm going to cancel the network. Well, then don't watch. There's 9 million things to do. There's 9 million things to watch on television. Go upstairs, go to bed, bang your wife, go on the computer, play a video game, go outside, do something. But you don't have, if you hate something so much, don't watch it.
So is that where because, I mean, there's 2 things going on with wrestling and fans right now. Number one, you could say a lot of time is spent in WWE not listening to what the fans in the arena and the fans on the internet are saying. Your top good guys are getting booed. These obvious moves are not getting made for moves that are obviously being met with displeasure. But at the same time, the ratings aren't really dropping dramatically, and people are still buying the network. So do you see this as something that WWE is doing wrong, or do you see it as something that the viewers are doing wrong?
No, I get so much. I don't watch it anymore. I got so sick of it. Blah blah blah. Fine. Number one, you can never go by ratings. I've been alive for 44 years. I have yet to meet one person that was a Nielsen family.
It blows people's minds when they realize that what those ratings are. They're not actually counting TVs that are on.
Correct. And it's the I've never met a Nielsen family. And then I've heard like it's somewhere from like what one person watches represents like 225,000 people in that area. So think about that.
Yeah.
That's horrible. I think you could get, again, DVRs and a DVR rating is to me a lot more and will become more prominent probably another 5 to 10 years. With social media, my biggest, I don't want to say gripe, you cannot do something or tell people, hey, tell us your opinion, and then go the opposite way. You can't, for the longest time, hey, tout us this, tout us that.
Yeah.
Go to the Facebook, go to the Twitter, and yes, it is a big business, but tell us your opinion, and then I do something opposite. I could tell you, hey, man, I don't like you because you have curly hair.
Right.
And you're like, well, this is my curly hair. Okay, well, you know what? I don't like you. But if you change your hair, then I will like you. And then you come in and you change your hair, and then, I still don't like you.
Right.
It's stupid.
Right.
And you cannot promote that way. And it's also, again, you can't. Roman Reigns I like Roman Reigns.
Right.
I'm a big Roman Reigns supporter. I'm a huge John Cena supporter. He goes out there and always busts his ass. And Roman Reigns goes out there and works very, very hard. Roman Reigns, if I had Roman Reigns, I don't think they should have split up the Shield. They went too short to keep the Shield together. I think the Shield should have been together for a while. But, again, that's my opinion. But I will watch every single week. I could hate what I see on television, but I will still watch. I will still support. But if you don't like it, how do you hurt somebody? You hurt them in their pocket.
Right.
If everyone stopped tuning in, then guess what? Then they really would start changing. They would make other arrangements. If you won the Chicago Cubs, haven't won a World Series in the longest time, people still go out there. People go out there because they like the Chicago Cubs. I tweeted this so long ago. If you, as an organization, don't start listening to your fans, they won't come. And you can see a down in attendance across the board on a lot of sports. Why? They don't have good teams. So if you don't have a good team, they're not going to come watch you play. And then you say, oh, crap, what do I got to do? Well, I got to make trades. I got to rebuild my franchise. Because the bottom line is tickets and championships. Seattle back in the day sucked. Now Seattle has the record for most sellouts. Why? They got a good team. Right.
So so nothing dramatic will probably happen until there's a need for it to happen.
You're so mad about Roman Reigns, and not me. You're so mad about Roman Reigns being in the main event. Don't buy the pay-per-view.
Right.
Again, the business is changing. Pay-per-view business isn't where it's at anymore. They have their own network. If you're so angry, then don't watch.
Or don't
subscribe.
Yeah, don't hashtag cancel the network.
Yes.
Actually do it. There's a huge difference between tweeting about it and actually doing it.
And even the last pay-per-view, everyone was, kind of angry. I saw I'll go back and watch, Daniel Bryan Romans. They had a great match.
Yeah, they did.
And then people still be like, what the hell? They're not listening. It was for free. They gave you the show for free. Mm-hmm. You have a free month. So right. I'd be pissed if I ordered the network and I paying $9.99 and other people are getting it for free.
Right.
But again, that's not my call, not my worries, not my headaches.
No, not your cross to bear.
My biggest headache for House of Hardcore, and I totally was like, holy crap. There was this one website, a fan brought it to me. It was one of those torrent sites.
Yeah.
66,000 illegal downloads of my one show. Right away, I put a price tag on it. My iPay-per-view was $15. It's over $700,000 out of my pocket. Oh. And yes, not all those people would have purchased it.
Some, though. It's 66,000.
I would have. That's life-changing. That gets me on major networks. That would have got me so much. And I was livid at that. I contacted them. They're from another country. There's no laws there. They have no trademark laws, no patent laws.
You found them.
I got them.
Which is like when you're talking about BitTorrent stuff, that's impossible. Nobody tracks down.
They're saying, hey, we're a third-party hosting service. We get all our shit from Dailymotion, from here or there. I pull down every content that you can find. And I actually got the one site shut down.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the best part. There are now legal companies that will go after those sites, and they are almost like they have diplomatic immunity. But this is how scumbag they are. They will give your email, if you're the one who, because you got to join some of these things, they will give you up and they rat you out. And now that there's people that they hit me up and they were like, hey, we'll send them a fine. We have their name, blah, blah, blah. And then we could also, everything that they watched. There's agencies, government agencies that, oversee all that. And they say, we'll give them a fine. It's $250. You keep $150, we get $100. And these sites, they rat you out. So you get caught even though they're the ones supplying it.
So they go, look, we're gonna be okay, but here's all our users.
Yep.
Just leave us alone. It's not our
And then
hassle.
I also found out everyone who got it got a virus. So I was actually happy.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but yeah, man, 66,000, man. I was on just one.
On the first show. I don't think people realize how difficult it is, unless you're producing content. I don't think anybody really realizes how difficult it is to monetize content in 2015.
No.
Like, it's impossible.
Nope. But it was cool because, also, like with me, from that, I actually brought in some real people to try to take my company to the next level, and they did a statistical analysis of my Twitter, my Instagram, all that stuff, and also my website. And they told me my website last month did 6.3 million views.
Wow.
And they said, do you know what you're sitting on? And I was like, huh?
Yeah.
They're like, well, you could get real sponsors. You have a lot of people coming to your website. And then they said it dramatically ends. I said, yeah, it dramatically ends once my show ends.
Right.
Because I'm always driving people, hey, get your tickets, watch here, blah, 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 blah. But again,
so the only way to win is just to keep show, another show, another show, and just ride the wave as long as you possibly can.
Yeah, but that was in 1 month. That was awesome. I know about WWE does about 1.2 a day, but 6.3 in a month.
That's pretty major.
Yeah.
That's huge.
So, I'll get real sponsors now coming at you people.
Having your own promotion, was that ever something that you saw yourself doing? Was that a goal?
Nah. I did so much in the original ECW.
Well, how I know how much you did in the original ECW? I think it was like probably 97. It was probably
kicked you out of the building and give me back.
Yeah, you grabbed me by the hair and threw me on the street.
I did that to Billy Corgan, by the way.
Did you?
That's a whole other story.
I was. I'll ask about that in a second, but it would have been 97. So I was probably, I don't know, 15, 4, 5, 6, yeah, 14, 15 years old, and I went and got the Pro Wrestling Illustrated Almanac books, and they had the addresses in the back, like the corporate addresses for all the companies. And so I just started writing companies with self-addressed stamped envelopes asking for autographs or this or that. And the only thing I got back, I wrote to WCW, WWE, ECW, every address. The only thing I got back was an index card signed by Tommy Dreamer.
Really?
I sent it to whatever, I guess it was somebody's house.
It was P.O. Box 155H, Scarsdale, New York.
It was a Scarsdale address because I was in New Rochelle at the time going, whoa, I gotta track down this building.
I sadly still, like Twitter, I don't retweet everybody. I can't stand people who retweet everybody's stuff. Mm-hmm. I'm a big DM person. I DM you privately so it doesn't fill up people's timeline. I think that's courteous. I have my own P.O. Box. People send me stuff all the time, and I respond back to them. And that all goes back to Bob Backlund snubbing me back in the day for my first ever autograph at the White Plains County Center. A whole other story to go that. But again, how you just remember that I did that to you, which is for you, which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
But, yeah, man, I always...
So you threw Billy Corgan out of the building?
Billy Corgan shows up in Chicago, and everyone's like fawning all over him. And this was also when it was bigger, kayfabe, and Sign Guy Dudley was there, and he just saw me have the Tommy Dreamer look that he would always. I was crazy, I go, who's that? And he goes, it's Billy Corgan. I go, why is he in the back? And he goes, what? I go, why is he in the back? I go, get him out of here. And he goes, no, please, don't throw him out. Don't throw him out. And because if you came in the back, you weren't allowed. I mean, we were a goon squad. Being in the back is a privilege. Now it's a lot different, but,
Yeah, because at an indie show now, it's like...
Right. But,
lots of people are wandering around back there.
No, and there's a lot of old school guys that still bothers me. It does still bother me, but now I have more, this is our locker room, you need to get out. The back is a lot different.
Right, gotcha. So you have a space that's
correct.
Like,
know, and if you're hanging out in the locker room, or if on a show that you're not, or if you're just whatever you don't need to see, you want to be back there, then fine. Then I'm gonna get naked in front of you. I don't care if you're a guy or if you're a girl. You're back in where I'm supposed to get dressed. I'll show you my fat ass. I don't know. But anyway, Billy Corgan. I was like, he's like from Smashing Pumpkins. He's like, please don't. And Lou never ever spoke up to me. And he's like, please, no. He's like huge, and I was just like, fine. The cancer-looking guy can stay because he just had the shaved head, the white. He was skinny, and Lou was just like. Because again, man, you live in a wrestler bubble. I had no clue who he was, and then I started talking to him, and we became really, really good friends.
Right.
But it was totally like, you don't belong back here. I don't give a. He sold out that building. Well, great, you didn't sell it out on the night that we're here, so get out of my
right.
back.
Not even sort of realizing, okay, like Smashing Pumpkins are bigger than ECW right now, and this lends us a lot of credibility.
Correct.
But then, I mean, you were probably right, because then Billy Corgan comes out, and instead of being a babyface, all the ECW fans are going to boo him out of the building. So.
No, Billy was always cool.
Yeah,
that was also the same day that Sinister Minister blew off his hands in the back. It was pretty awesome. He blew off his finger.
How do you do that?
He was at a shoot of fire, and there's ways you throw fire with chemicals, or there's flash paper, but he had a gun that would shoot flash paper, and he was doing it in the back, and he shot it, and it blew off his fingers. And in the back, and he comes up to me, and he's clutching, and he's almost in shock, and he goes, Tommy Dreamer, I think I lost my fingers. What do I do? And he shows me. I'm like, go to the hospital.
Yeah.
And
you're like, I didn't know the locker room general title was.
So we go back, and I see Big Sal there, and he's got his head down, and it happened, and like he's like kind of like this, and I think maybe Big Sal's in shock, and he's kind of like shaking. I lift up, and he's laughing, and I go, what are you doing? He goes, look, his fingers are on the wall.
Oh my God.
It was such an explosion, like part of his hand was stuck to the wall. We were taking pictures with it. We were a rough locker room in that ECW, but those are all for an amazing stories, an amazing ride of the known of the extreme crazy wrestlers.
What was was there anything that you did in ECW that you were like, you know what, I shouldn't have done that?
No.
You were happy with all of it. What was the worst thing that you had to go through?
Physically?
Yeah.
Lawler cane in my balls.
That was
probably.
it.
Yeah.
I mean, it ended in a great promo.
Yeah.
I still remember sitting there watching it on WLNY.
Well,
and you talking about the long needle.
I had to go. Yeah, I had to go to the hospital and all that stuff, and getting hit that hard, got knocked out. You can watch it on YouTube. You hear when you really got hit. My high pitched voice really did happen.
Mm-hmm. And, were you mad at Lawler for hitting you that hard, or was
no.
was that his job?
Well, when there's certain ways to hit a guy.
Mm-hmm.
When you hit a guy with a baseball bat,
mm-hmm.
you kind of, I guess you want to hit the mat. I don't know. I hit people for real. It's, if not.
Yeah. You've been hit for real, you hit people for real.
I won't hit you in the cane bends. So when he hit, the cane bent and totally caught me. So, I had to go to the hospital, and they had a nurse, and she was a fan, and, I'm packed in ice, and I was quite the ladies' man back then. And so I'm like, what's going on to the lady? And she's like, well, you got to see it now. My testicles were probably swelling up with blood. They look disgusting. And I wish I had a video camera, because I would have totally been like on Tosh.0 with this by then. Yeah. But my penis was the actual size of a thimble, because I was freezing as well as my balls were so big.
Right.
So now I have to show an attractive looking lady my disgusting male area.
Right.
And I was like, well, I was like, can I have sex with you at another point in my life just to prove that this isn't what I look like? So, I had to show her that, and it was pretty good. And then they come at you with a big needle, and they start draining your testicles. There's a place you never want to have a needle.
No.
I feel there and an eye are probably two places you don't want to have needles.
Yeah. I'd probably take it in the eye first.
No, because you can't close your eyes. You got to look right at it. I don't know how people do LASIK surgery. You got to look right at it. I'd freak out.
Yeah.
And then the other where I wanted to do in my promo, but at times we did have rules, ladies and gentlemen, because the blood after the injury starts dissipating through your body and it goes down. So I had like brown, yellow, blue, almost like a stain of blood going down from my man bag to like half my legs. So I looked like I had the weirdest venereal disease for like, I don't know, like 6 days. And I'd be like to girls, no, seriously, this is going to go away. Come, service me.
But they wouldn't let you show it in the promo?
No, Paul wouldn't let me show my disgusting area. I would have gotten naked for ECW. It was ECW. I would have done anything.
Right. Yeah, that was your gig. What was your relationship? Oh, well, what was Jerry Lawler like? Because Jerry Lawler was one of those, when he came into ECW, that was probably the last time you had an old school heel where fans wanted to hurt him, they wanted to stab him,
Yes.
they wanted to riot because he was there. And it's not this, if Cena wins, we riot stuff. It's like, no.
No, we were going to riot.
We want to hurt. Tell me what car he's in, because
There was Shane Douglas had that once when he threw down Pitbull.
by the neck,
Anthony with his halo on.
Yeah.
King had that. Cornette had that too, and that same deal. It was actually Cornette that woke me up with his racket that when I passed out, hitting me. Jerry Lawler is one of the best in-ring performers. He was the total perfect heel for Tommy Dreamer to be, he was the ECW, the WWE guy. I was the ECW. It was a great natural. It was, I don't know, Batman and the Joker, Batman and the Riddler. It was, Superman versus what's his name.
And depending on where you went, you kind of switched roles, because the WWE audience is going to, even though Jerry Lawler's a heel there, they're going to root for Jerry Lawler.
No, they always cheered for us.
Did they?
You go back, watch any of those Invasions thing.
Is that just because ECW was cool wherever you went?
Yes. And, it was funny. Even I remember like with Paul, we did the, an Invasion. We did it at the Manhattan Center. And then another time we did it with, up in Worcester, Massachusetts, and they're having a debate, and Paul's like, I'm going to shoot on him a little bit, and then whatever. I said, okay, no problem. And I had Paul's back, whatever. If it got physical, if I'd have to kick Jerry Lawler's ass, it's okay. And no matter, they said, and again, when you realize you're not in, Kansas anymore, but I worked in ECW. I don't care what they said. I'll do whatever. And whatever you do, don't touch the podium. Don't touch the podium. And Lawler steps up to Paul, and I step up, and I bang on the podium, and I look like I was like the Fonz, or like the strongest, coolest guy ever, because as soon as I banged on it, it crumbled like a deck of cards. And I was like, what do you want to do, Lawler? Like, totally going to fight him. But when I hit that thing, it just folded great. I was like, that is so awesome.
Yeah, perfect. When you guys were doing that original Invasion stuff, the Manhattan Center stuff, did you have any idea where it was leading? It didn't necessarily lead.
No, Paul, it was supposed to lead to me and Sandman versus Sabu and Van Dam at SummerSlam at the Meadowlands, but that all went sour. Either went sour more. Van Dam refused to do a job for, I want to say, Road Dogg.
So they're like, we need to use your guys to build our guys up, and then we'll give you
something like that.
Yeah.
But again, Paul was just telling us this. It was a lot of lies, and it was a lot of, we weren't getting the truth. And if, I believe Paul probably told Vince, like you could ask Paul, he probably told Vince, everybody's in on it, we'll do anything. And then we had creative freedom. And if we didn't like something, we would tell Paul, hey, well, what about this? And Paul would at least listen. And then so, Van Dam was just like, no, I'm not going to do that. How does that help me? But it was, again, if you think about it, I don't work here.
Right.
So it was kind of a weird, different time.
Yeah, for sure. What is your relationship with Paul Heyman right now?
I really don't talk to him. I hit him up every once in a while.
But cool.
I don't have any animosity towards him. Why should I?
And what was it like?
He's the best in-ring promo guy of all time.
Still to this day.
I tweet, his stuff whenever he's great.
Yeah.
It's funny when me and Bubba always talk about him. Whenever something is like, November Rain comes on, he's just like, it's all Paul's fault. I'm like, yep, it is, but it's okay.
But that's the journey.
Exactly.
And what was it like after seeing ECW and living through that, and then living through all those years in WWE, to then step into TNA? What's it like? Or is it just a gig?
When I went there, I had something to prove. I felt like I was a battered dog and really wanted to go next level. And I had I had something to prove to people that, hey, I still got it. I was pretty much fed to believe that I was worthless. Mm-hmm. And that started my whole thing with AJ Styles. And I got to prove to the world that I can hang with this guy. Mm-hmm. And it was really, really a blessing for me. As well as then, hey, we want you to write Hardcore Justice. That pay-per-view was very, very successful. Then some of the politics came on board, and then I was like, you know what, I'm done. And
because you're in a position where if you're not having a good time,
yep, I don't care.
There's no reason for you to do it.
It's not even that I'm having a good time. I don't need to deal with people's BS.
Right.
I'm a man. You're a man. If I have a problem with you, let's talk it out. Let's still do business. If not, let's fight. And whoever comes out, then you're the winner. Then don't talk crap about me. I won't talk crap about you. But that doesn't happen in wrestling. So I left, I came back, and, I'm happy. I enjoy helping out behind the scenes there. I'm in a great position because I get to use some of their guys.
Right.
I'm truly the free agent of professional wrestling.
And I mean, you get to go on TNA TV wearing House of Hardcore stuff.
Yeah. Well, they've been great to me.
Yeah.
They've had a change in management. I love the guys. I love performing in front of the fans. And hey, to be still wrestling on television at 44 years old, or even that whole thing of going to put Dixie through the table and me going out there and be able to vent my opinion about what the wrestling business and how she was hurting it. Blah, blah, blah. That was all real. Mm-hmm. It helped my promotion. It got me. I had my third show. I had national television exposure on show number 3, which is
huge.
Yeah.
Well, where can people find info about House of Hardcore?
HouseOfHardcore.net. The Tommy Dreamer on Twitter. The Tommy Dreamer on Facebook. The Tommy Dreamer on Instagram. And
if you're going to check out these shows, number one, try to check out a live show if you're in the Philly area or wherever House of Hardcore ends up going in the future. But, pick up the Blu-rays.
Yep, Blu-rays, DVDs, and it was funny. I was just Leonard Nimoy, as you know, just died.
Yeah,
and a guy on television, he hosts Channel 5 show. I don't know what, Good Day New York, whatever. He brought out his Enterprise, and he said, "I have everybody signed on it, but Spock." And he said, "I wanted to walk away from the show. He was right down the block, and they wouldn't let me leave." He goes, "I knew I could have just snuck out, but I didn't do it." It's like, I could never have gotten that. There were so many people like, man, I've never been to the arena. Or, hey, I may never be able to see this guy, get this guy's autograph,
right,
or meet this guy, or talk to this person. And not just for my show, for every show.
Right.
You see guys out there, do it, because you don't want to have any regrets in life. I don't.
I think that's 100% true. And talking about Bubba Ray Dudley, last time I saw Bubba, it was probably a couple months ago. But if he does shows all over the place. He does all kinds of shows. But he was like, this House of Hardcore, if you want to see me,
right,
wait until the next House of Hardcore show, because that's the show to see. So I recommend it. Tommy, man, thanks for sitting down.
Thanks for having me, buddy.